Today is race day, and depending on where and the time you are watching this particular video, it is good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you. And I'm excited because today, by the end of the race in Australia, we're actually going to know where everyone stands when it comes to exactly having a full and complete race. And since today is the first race of the season, I would want to play a little game with you. I would want you to write in the comment section below the person you hope is going to win the race. For me, I am hoping that the race winner is going to be Lewis Hamilton. And to be honest, I think that's a tall order because he is starting in P7. Coming from P7 to P1 is going to be an interesting thing, and I hope he can be able to achieve it. And so probably I'm setting up myself for one of the first heartbreaks of the Formula 1 season in 2026. The countdown to the Australian Grand Prix and the first race of the Formula 1 season in 2026 is coming to a close, and today is day 0, meaning today is race day. And this being the Sunday, the 8th of March in 2026, this is the day that we are going to have that first race, or what you might consider to be the inaugural race of the Formula 1 season in 2026. And at least the expectation is already very high, given the grid that is already in place. After qualifying yesterday, at least we know where each driver and each team is going to start the race from. We have teams that are on the front, in the mid, and in the back of the grid. And it will be very interesting to see how teams perform during this first race. And we already have some drivers who are in what you might consider to be very interesting positions when it comes to starting the race. And a good example is Max Verstappen. I think for many, they would have expected Max to actually be among the top 8 drivers. But starting at the back of the grid, that gives us an opportunity to see what he can be able to do over the course of the entire race, and what strategies that they might employ to help him move forward. We also have other drivers who are in some interesting position, and a good case also is Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. And the reason why I'm mentioning these Ferrari drivers is because during pre-season testing and during testing of the race starts, Ferrari seemed to have sort of an idea of how to get going faster than the rest of the teams. And what makes this interesting is to see how that will play out, considering that Hamilton is starting from P7 and Charles Leclerc from P4. And while the run to turn 1 in Australia is not a long one, at least it will be very interesting to see whether what we saw during the start in pre-season testing can actually be deployed in Australia, and whether it would be an advantage for Ferrari being able to launch off the line a little bit faster than probably the people who are actually allowed them. If this is the first time that you and I are meeting, I am Joe, and on this YouTube channel I talk about Formula 1 and the business of Formula 1, and I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. I think this first race is going to be very interesting, and there are a lot of things that we are also going to learn by the end of the race today. We are going to see whether Mercedes actually has the pace to win the race, can be able to probably be way ahead of the rest in the race. And we're also going to see what other teams can be able to do, what is going to be happening in the midfield. Are Aston Martin going to complete the race, or will it be like we have heard that they can only do probably a maximum of 25 laps? All these things are going to be clear during the race. And there are people who feel that this being the first race under the new regulations, that there are teams that might not be able to finish the race, that we are going to have more DNFs than probably we have been used to in recent years. And probably that's a legitimate or a genuine concern. And we can only know whether that is going to happen by actually having this race going on. because at least by the end of the race, we are going to see who is able to finish the entire 58 laps. But my hope is that other than Aston Martin, who have already indicated they have a legitimate concern and they are not sure they can be able to finish the race, I am hoping that the rest of the teams and drivers are actually going to complete the race. I think that would be a very good start when it comes to this new season and these new regulations. The Formula One season in 2026 actually promises to be very interesting, and this is because this is going to be the first year under the new regulations, and there are a lot of unknowns, and you can only imagine that a lot of things are going to evolve over the course of the entire season. I can imagine that some of the regulations are going to become clear that they probably cannot work as they are at the moment, which means there will be need for changes probably as the season progresses. And at the same time, there are issues that might come up that probably we have not even experienced them yet. And all those things is what is going to make this sport interesting. And I think that's what makes this particular year very unique, because the way things are at the start of this particular season might not be the way things are going to end by the time we get to the last race in Abu Dhabi. And so, while we may have an idea of the pecking order from today's race, probably that is also going to be changing as teams develop, as others become better and good at understanding the package they have, as teams continue to unlock performance from their machines. Things are going to change. And while at the moment, and based on qualifying yesterday, Mercedes looks to be way ahead of the rest of the pack, you cannot also ignore how close probably Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren are going to get as the season progresses. And as the first race of this season starts today, it is also worth noting that this is happening when there is an ongoing crisis in the Middle East. And the reason why I would mention this today is because there are two races that are scheduled to be hosted in Bahrain and the other one in Saudi Arabia. And this is going to take place in April. But as the thing stands, no one is sure whether those races are going to take place. And while a decision has not been made, at least there has been reports that should those races be cancelled, they are not going to be replaced. And it goes on to show that what happens somewhere in the world can end up affecting Formula One races and Formula One businesses. So it is important for you to also have the situational awareness of what is happening in the world from a geopolitical point of view, as well as from an economic point of view, because those are things or factors that can affect Formula One racing. And it is my hope, and I know many people hope of the same, that Bahrain Grand Prix and Saudi Arabian Grand Prix will not be cancelled. This is going to be it for this particular video, and I'm looking forward to the first race of the Formula One season in 2026. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not, and I'm going to see you in my next video.